So this build takes the new exotic bow called Wishkeeper that dropped yesterday and plays into the Suspend debuff, the Unravel debuff, and even a ton of Threadlings, to the full extent of the Strand subclass and its power. I think this is the best version of a Strand Hunter that I have played with in quite a while, and that's because you will always have a source of Suspend between two Shackle Grenades and the exotic bow. You are the Guardian that brings that infinite crowd control to your fire team, and it definitely helps out in hard content, especially something like Grandmasters. Your fire team will love you for it. You always have a Strand Shuriken roaming the battlefield that deals great damage and spreads Unravel. Then to top it off, your bow will hit 85% harder pretty much all the time, since we always have a source of Suspend available to take advantage of. All the gameplay you're watching is from a solo Grandmaster, just so you can see the power and potential of this build. You just have to lean into that Strand subclass as heavily as you can, because if you do, you will enjoy the outcome. But first, we have a sponsor on today's video. Have you ever thought about becoming a programmer and learning back-end development but just haven't taken the right steps yet? Well, Boot.dev uses tactics learned from this era of modern games and helps you achieve your goal, a career in back-end development. The best part about Boot.dev is that you can take it online. It's all self-paced, so you can take as long as you need, just like how I messed up on this question and learned from it, and it all feels like a captivating RPG game which solves the biggest problem with online learning, and that is getting too bored of it. You will earn XP, levels, achievements, and complete quests to get a top spot on the global leaderboard. Also, programmers have amazing earning potential. According to Stack Overflow, the median salary for backend developers in the US in 2023 was over $100,000. Boot.dev isn't crazy expensive either, as you can see from their price structure, and they also have a Discord community that is active and there to help you if you ever get stuck on your coding challenges. If you guys click my link down in the description box or in the pinned comment and use my code Plunderthabooty, you'll get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% of your first month or your first year, depending on the subscription you choose. If you have ever thought about programming as a career, then don't wait and take advantage of this offer. I hope to see some of you pursuing your dreams with Boot.dev. This entire build starts with the new Wishkeeper bow and its intrinsic perk called Snare Weaver. Precision hits and final blows build energy, and when you get 5 stacks, you hip fire the bow and you'll place that trap on the ground that can suspend nearby enemies. Now this can just be 5 precision hits on a single enemy like a champion, 5 precision hits on different enemies, or it can also be final blows. So let's say you shoot an enemy twice in the head and then your third shot kills the enemy. That would be 4 stacks towards this charge. So it's very easy to get this bow charged up. If you're killing things in one shot, it would take 3 kills to charge it up. So really easy to get our Suspend trap in any content. And then the weapon trait is Silk Bound Slayer. This weapon deals bonus damage to suspended targets. This is right around a 60% damage increase, which is quite a lot. And this bow actually really does need that help. If you do not get that 60% damage increase, it doesn't feel that good in difficult content. You also do gain a faster draw time for a short duration when you suspend a target, and that's from any source. It could be from any abilities that you're using or the weapon. And then when you damage a suspended target with this weapon, you also get that faster draw time. And technically you should have that draw time up pretty often because you should be always suspending things and damaging suspended things. Now we don't have any of the catalysts unlocked yet for this weapon, so I'm unsure which one I would technically go with. Now you can run any other 2 weapons you want. I actually ran the Indebted Kindness from the new dungeon. This is the rocket sidearm. It pops barrier champions in one shot, even in Grandmaster content, which is really nice and does decent damage and has good reserves for a sidearm. And then in your heavy, again, your choice. I would take something Strand if you can, especially if you're playing with other teammates, because you're going to boost your Strand weapon by 25% with our exotic. And then speaking of the exotic, that is the Foe Tracer helmet. This has the perk Relentless Tracker, and this is damaging powerful combatants with any ability, grants you a 4x stack of weapon bonus damage for 10 seconds. This is a 25% weapon damage buff to our Strand weapons, and both our Shackle Grenades can proc this, our Threaded Spike melee can proc this, and our Shuriken Tangles that are roaming the battlefield can proc this as well. And speaking of those Shurikens, that's our first aspect of Whirling Maelstrom. And it's really nice with the bow because normally you would need an ability to spawn a Tangle. So all we have to do now is shoot out our hip fire arrow that will suspend targets, kill one of those suspended targets, and that'll create a Tangle right there. Shoot that Tangle and you'll damage everything around it that is suspended, and that Shuriken will start damaging all those enemies that you have suspended from that arrow that you shot off. So a really nice chain there between the two. And then we take Widow's Silk as our second aspect. You have an additional grenade charge. For the fragments, it's a little different this time. We take Thread of Rebirth. Strand weapon final blows have a chance to create a Threadling. Since we're kind of sitting back a bit with our bow, I chose this instead of Thread of Warding, but you can switch this out for Thread of Warding if you want Woven mail, but I found myself not actually taking advantage of woven mail as much as I wanted to, because the playstyle is sit a little further back and deal damage from afar and suspend things from afar. And that's how a lot of you guys will be playing the build as well. Next we take Thread of Evolution. Threadlings travel further and deal additional damage. This is 30% faster and further, and deals 33% extra damage for every Threadling we create. And we are creating a ton with this build, because of Thread of Rebirth, and because of the artifact perk called Horde Shuttle. Damaging Unravel targets with a weapon occasionally spawns a Threadling. Next we take Thread of Continuity. This basically makes Strand debuffs last 50% longer on their targets. And then lastly we take Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. This did get nerfed a bit lately, but it is still really good on the Strand Hunter, since we have a ton of damage going out in different ways. We have that Unravel debuff damaging everything, Threadlings popping out damaging everything, and the whirling Maelstrom Shuriken continuously damaging things. And that's not including your weapon damage. So a lot of outgoing damage at one time to proc this. Now for the artifact, we did go over Horde Shuttle, and you also want to take Unraveling Orbs. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Strand weapons Unraveling rounds. This is just extra on top of our Shuriken, because when that Shuriken kills something, that will cause the Unravel debuff to happen when it does defeat something. So this is just extra on top of that. For the mods on the build, on the helmet, it's just your Siphon mods and a heavy ammo finder. On the gauntlets, we take Heavy Handed, because our Threaded Spike is actually pretty strong, especially against red bar enemies, so we can spawn Orbs of Power with our melee. We take Impact Induction, causing damage with that melee reduces the grenade cooldown. And since we use Gambler's Dodge with the build, we dodge near enemies to get a full refund, so we'll have that Threaded Spike up quite often. I also took a Strand Loader to help load that bow quicker and help with the draw time. On the chest piece, we take our damage reduction mods for whatever activity you're doing. And then on the boots, since Surge mods do not stack with Foe Tracer's bonus, we take Absolution and Innervation. So when we pick up an Orb of Power, we get that 15% grenade energy instantly, and then also Recuperation, replenish health each time you pick up an Orb of Power. That's 70 HP on an orb pickup for that one. Then on the class item, we take Powerful Attraction, so dodging will pick up those Orbs of Power if we're close enough. Reaper, so after we dodge, our next weapon Final Blow will spawn an Orb of Power, and Bomber just to feed into that grenade a little bit more. For stats on the build, 100 Resilience is the one you want to hit again, especially if you're pushing into difficult content. If you can get your Discipline up to 100, that'd be great as well. And then you could push up your mobility and recovery. But as far as the mods go, they're really not impacting the build that greatly. This thing stands on its own from the subclass and the 2 exotics we're pairing with it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.